Hey there, welcome to the road to 50 million. Nice to see you here. Today I want to talk about Bob. Not a person named Bob or Robert or anything else, Roberto, or I know people of all those names, and so do you, but Bob's an acronym. It stands for barriers, obstacles, and blocks. Bob. Now, you and I are on a road to happiness and joy, right? And if you're not trying to be or living in a place of happiness and joy, or going there, or already there and spreading it wildly, then this video and maybe this whole series might not be for you. But what we're doing on the road to 50 million is I'm every day I'm talking about different tools, different ways, and different stories of people who have achieved or are wildly achieving, right, their ultimate life, a life of purpose, prosperity, and joy. Now, that may look different for you than me. For me, what purpose, prosperity, and joy look like is this. I'm excited every day. Like, I can't wait to get up. I woke up an hour and a half before my alarm today. That used to frustrate me, and I think, I'm going to be tired. You know what? The Spirit wakes me up whenever it does. And I have a PTAC, personal truth and commitment. So I recited that slowly and carefully, chewing on the words, thinking about what I had to do today, what I've chosen to do today, because I have no obligations, none. And that's another episode. Maybe we'll do that later. Obligations, I have none. None. Isn't that fun? I have no obligations. And you know why? Obligations, the word itself carries the seeds of resentment. Because when we have an obligation, not always, but almost always, it is with this feeling of, I'd rather be doing something else. If I'd rather be doing something else, then I'm not fully in that moment, not fully present, not fully creative, focused, and powerful, whatever it is I'm doing. I'm obligated. And it carries that energy. So I don't have any obligations. Lots of commitments, and we'll do a session on that one time. But today it's about barriers, obstacles, and blocks. And the feeling that comes with obligation is a barrier. If I wake up early, 4 o'clock this morning, I usually get up at 5:30. If I wake up frustrated, I'm frustrated, 4 o'clock, I need more sleep. I'll be tired today. Can't go back to sleep. How come I woke up now? Or even a mild version of that. That is a barrier. It's a barrier to my sanity. It creates neurochemistry in my body I don't need. So instead, what I do, and I do it every time, not once in a while, I just relax and thank God, the divine, the universe, for waking me up. And I inquire spiritually, what is the purpose? Why am I awake? Gently, not forcefully or frustrated. And often nothing comes immediately. But I then put myself in a position to receive revelation. So I recite my PTAC, my personal truth and commitment. And I refer to that a lot in my document, my PTAC. I love PTAC, personal truth and commitment, because it's personal. Nobody else has to agree to it. Nobody knows what it is. I've shared it with little pieces of it with different clients in the hopes of helping them to understand how to create life in the most powerful way possible. It's a guiding star. It literally lights me up. It's not a list of hokey, I don't call them hokey, a list of affirmations. That affirmations are things that we get at some book or some conference, and we repeat them over and over again. We don't believe them, hoping that by continued repetition we'll drill them into our head, create some kind of habit, and create some kind of change. Doesn't work very well. And that's why people quit after a very short time, quit doing, quote, affirmations. There's a formulation of that is far more powerful, far more, 100 times more powerful, not a little bit. And it has the power to shape your life. So again, that isn't the subject of today. It's a PTAC, personal truth and commitment statement, a declaration that you craft about who you are in the world and in the universe and what you're going to do about it. The what you're going to do about it is really important because it allows you to filter every thought and action through who you say you are. Anyway, barriers, obstacles, and blocks are those things that get in the way or slow you down or prevent you from getting what you want done, but mostly enjoying the day. Like I enjoy my day whether it goes like I want or not. Yes, you heard me right. I used to hate it. Oh, man, I hated it when I got up, maybe a little late. It was a struggle to get up. I didn't like it. I got angry with myself because I didn't get everything done I was supposed to, felt behind the 8 ball all day, took the crap I didn't get done, put it on tomorrow's list, and it was this perpetual feeling of being behind the 8 ball. I talked about that the other day, the 8 ball feeling. My Joy and I gave it a name, the 8 ball feeling. And I don't have that anymore. I don't live there. I don't even know what it is anymore. And it's wonderful. Barriers, obstacles, and blocks, they're your own creation. Yes, they're your own creation. I had a course once I called Banish Bob, and with all caps B-O-B, and it was, of course, barriers, obstacles, and blocks, not aimed at any person. But it was fun, and it was a fun course to examine what we think of as barriers, obstacles, and blocks. So what are yours? They range from attitudes like I'm not good enough, I can't do this, I'm too old, I'm too this, that, and the other. Those are barriers, obstacles, and blocks. They're real, they're powerful, and they're messy. There might be other things like you may not have support. People around you may say, you're stupid, you're wrong, you can't do that, you're not smart enough, old enough, you've done this and this and this and this wrong. People would never accept you as an author or a coach or a leader or even a gardener, whatever it is, right? Doesn't matter. All those kinds of barriers come from outside. The attitudes about what I am and what I can do and everything else, that comes from inside. And then there's stuff that happens. You get a surprise bill from the tax authority, CRA, Canada Revenue Agency here in Canada, the IRS in the United States. That's happened to me. Many years ago, I hadn't handled my taxes well, and I went to the bank one day, and all my accounts were empty. Zero. I went to withdraw $500 to do something. I don't know. I needed some cash for whatever, and the lady at the bank knew me. I went there all the time, and she looked at me with a mixture of horror and fear and said, "There's no money." I said, "What do you mean there's no money? There's thousands." It's gone. Every nickel in every account is empty. Then she pulled out a letter from the IRS confiscating everything I had. Needless to say, that was a moment of unexpected displeasure. I didn't have anywhere near the tools I have now. I remember getting on the phone to Joy at the time and calling her and saying, are you sitting down? What? The bank accounts are empty. So anyway, the next days and weeks were a scramble to figure out what to do and how to live and everything else. And no, we don't have rich uncles and people to collect money or favors from. It was quite a scramble. But we did it, and here we are many years later, well, happy, and with lots of money in bank accounts. So here's the point of today's thing, barriers, obstacles, and blocks. You have them. They're real. The effects are real. Many come from your mind. Many come from the weight that you give others' opinions, and many come from external circumstances. There are lots of ways to banish Bob. Barriers, obstacles, and blocks. We're going to talk about a few approaches right now. First of all, recognize which ones you invent. Everything attitudinal. I can't, I'm not good enough, it won't, I failed before, therefore I will fail again. I failed before may be true. Failure is just getting a outcome less than you expected or different that was not good. Nobody calls an outcome different than they expected that was wildly cool failure. Oh, that was a failure. A great one, but a failure. No, that's lucky, right? We have lucky and we have failures. Anyway, so one batch is in your head, and you control those 100%. Now, you may have a habit of letting them just blow your mind. That's okay, but know they're in your head. Another comes from external noise, and those are also in your head because it's the weight you give external inputs. And the third area we talked about is external circumstance. That could be anything from the IRS takes all your money, to your health, to an accident, to financial reversals, to the economy, to, right now we have a war in Europe. That was a gigantic external circumstance nobody wanted except the perpetrators, and is totally, I can't even comprehend the madness and mayhem that's brought to those poor folks. It's up close and personal for us because my wife, maiden name is Bondarenko, which is Ukrainian, and her dad was born in Odessa. So we have a Ukrainian family that we love dearly with us. mother and daughter whose husband can't leave the country. But anyway, you can banish those barriers, obstacles, and blocks. First of all, recognize which ones are of your own making. Second, recognize those things that have happened are just what is. Your experience of those, how you react to those, is also within your control. So when you get done with, I made these up, I'm giving these external things power, and I'm choosing to interpret these external things as a disaster and stopping me, you realize that all three of them have a common denominator, and that's you and your head. You choose your experience. And I used to hear that, and it used to make me so mad because I used to think people meant, well, I chose to be in that car accident. No, I didn't choose that. Someone else did whatever they did, unless it was me that was careless. What it means clearly, and, there's a whole thing about karma and maybe you chose it or whatever. I don't know. I'm not even talking about that. I'm talking about when stuff happens, you choose your reaction. Okay, there's Viktor Frankl's Man's Search for Meaning that talked about his experience in a concentration camp. There's another book called The Choice by another lady who spent time in Auschwitz, and she talks about the choice of how to live with those things. Frankl reported some people walking around the camp encouraging others, lifting their spirits, and other people, giving into and succumbing to the mental anguish. I'm not judging either one. I'm simply saying there is a choice. So step one to banish your barriers, obstacles, and blocks is identify them. Understand that everything about it is in your head, even if the externality is real, and then start to make conscious choices about what to do. Now, I have some favorite books here. One's Paulo Coelho's The Alchemist, which talks about, it's a parable. It talks about, a boy, Santiago, who goes through various things to get his life purpose, and all the barriers, obstacles, and blocks he goes through, and the mental gymnastics. I love the word alchemist. It is in my alchemy. I am become alchemy. That's part of my PTAC, because alchemy is the science of transmutation. Now, the original thing was transmuting base metals like lead into gold. The concept of transmutation is real, because the next set of episodes are going to be about barriers, obstacles, and blocks. And there are about 4 that I've particularly experienced. One is abuse, one is addiction, one is depression, and one is self-loathing. And that's going to be the next 4 we do. And those barriers, obstacles, and blocks for me were refining. So my statement about it is refined in the fires of abuse, addiction, depression, and self-loathing. I don't seek any sympathy. I cherish all my past, all the mistakes, all the refining and pain, because it has made it that I am become alchemy. And I transmute the fury of injustice, the ravages of adversity, and the pain of loneliness into the pure gold of love, forgiveness, and service. And that transmutation is at the heart of alchemy. But that is not magic. It is studied and created on purpose. So you can have your ultimate life. You can eliminate all your barriers, obstacles, and blocks. The Alchemist is one good book. Another one is Living Untethered, which is a book by Michael Singer, and he has The Untethered Soul. Don't confuse them. Living Untethered is the most recent one. I think it came out in May last year of 2022. And another one is Walking Without Fear. Walking Without Fear. I love this book. This is my own. I wrote it, and I don't just love it because it's mine, but it came from personal, brutal experience of waking up one morning in December of 2018, December 5th to be exact, paralyzed from the waist down, unable to walk. And the trip in the ambulance to 911 to the hospital, and going from the emergency room to the operating room directly. They did an MRI, and the doctor on call was at some other hospital. And by the time it all got said and done, it was at night, and he came for emergency midnight surgery to do some stuff, and then fixed it. And he told me later, I was in the hospital about 10 days. I got out on the 14th, I think. He told me later when they took the stitches out on the 27th, I had gigantic stitches, about a 4 or 5 inch scar right up here on my neck and upper back. I still feel it, big indentation. He told me, He said, I could count on less than one hand the number of people who have come into this hospital or any hospital like you did and then walked out under their own power in 10 days. He was blown away. That spawned walking without fear. So it doesn't matter what the obstacle is. Own it, identify it, walk past it, banish it. Even if, like in my case, it was a physical thing. I refused to allow it to define my attitude and my behaviors. I refused to get angry at it and be frustrated and declare the unfairness of it. I cherished it. I looked for the good and leaned into it. And you know what? It brought all kinds of blessings, all kinds of additional opportunities. And that was only because I chose my attitude. I chose how to view and participate in that obstacle. I send you my love. I send you my assurance that you can have your ultimate life. And I also am reaffirming one more time, my road to 50 million, that's 50 million people. You. I want to help you banish your obstacles, barriers, and blocks. I want to give you the tools, encouragement, and love you need to become all you want to be. You can have whatever you want and you can be whatever you want. And that's probably a worn out phrase for you. And you may not believe it at all, but it's still true. It's still true. If I can help you, let's talk. If you want to help me reach my 50 million, let's talk. If you're already living that way, then I want to talk also, because I have platforms and opportunities for you to spread your message, because I don't care who spreads the message of possibility and opportunity, just that together we lift the hearts and souls of people who need it so they can create all they can and live the ultimate life. I'll see you tomorrow on the road to 50 million.